Welcome to the latest in our series of Coffee Club chats, and today I'm pleased to bring to you Claudius Fuchs. I hope I've got that right. I try to pronounce people's names correctly, but don't always do it. Anyway, Claudius is one of our well-known BCAT captains and also the man behind the sprint competition at Christmas. Welcome, Claudius.
Hello there. Nice to be here. I love that format. I loved it also back with Mercenaries. Be here today.
Good, excellent. Well, so the first question everyone knows by now is going to be if you were out on a ride or just jumped off your trainer and were going to go for a coffee, what would your coffee of choice be?
Yeah, actually, I'm not so much for a coffee break during the ride, because it's not that I'm not about the social side of it, or I'm not too tough or anything. It's just I don't like that half hour you need to get going again after. It's so annoying.
Cafe legs.
Yeah. Yeah, but if I stop, I think I would go with an espresso, a double espresso, and if I'm in a nice sunny holiday or so, maybe a cortado with a bit of milk in it.
Well, certainly a double espresso should see you leaving the cafe at a fair speed, I would think.
Yeah, lately I need a lot of coffee to keep going.
Okay, we're past the first question. So the next one we come to is basically a bit of a combination. How did you get into cycling, and also how did you first come to join Level?
So into cycling, it was a bit of a necessity back when I was young, because my parents wouldn't get me to places I wanted to go, and so I started out with an old mountain bike, basically my last childhood bike, and soon I just liked it and went a bit further, and I had my home route I did maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And then instead of getting my driver's license quite on point at age of 18, I spent the money to get a TT bike, and I used that for maybe, I think it was 48K. It was always the same round I did. And as you might know, I'm from Bavaria, and it was quite hilly there. And I had fun riding this bike, and I kept it also when I went to Hamburg for my studies. And then I built from there. So as you see, the TT bike is gone, but it's replaced with a few other bikes now.
Oh, so we've got a combination of your parents then to thank for you being on a bike and on Zwift and in Level, I take it, in that case.
Yeah. So I've been on Zwift, I think, 2018. I had a dump roller trainer before, and during my studies, I was in a student home and in the parking garage on my trainer, and it was so boring. So I checked out Zwift and I liked it. And when WTRL was announced, first season, I thought I had to look for a team, because I mainly like the social and team part of cycling. It's so much nicer to be with friends and enjoy together. So I was looking for a team, and I found Mercenaries, and you were my first team captain, I think.
I was, yeah.
I took over Wanderers from you, actually.
That's right. Yeah. See, I was quite glad you did it at the time as well. It was quite stressful, so I was very grateful to you.
Yeah, I can give that back. You were a great help to get into it, and I enjoy it. I enjoy.
Yeah. You do a good job. You do a good job. Okay, well let's move on from that. So the next question on my list is, tell us about a bucket list item that you've achieved, something you're really proud of.
Proud of, yeah. I finished 2/3 of my garden fence before it got really cold. I think that's quite an achievement. Talking about cycling. Last time I went to Tenerife, I did all 4 tidal ascents in one stay. Not on one day, that would be a bit too much. But I didn't manage that before because they are quite far apart from each other. But at that time, I stayed at 2 different places, so I managed that. I was looking for it toward it for quite some time. I've been on Tenerife maybe, I don't know, with the bike maybe 10 times. And 20 times altogether, or 25. I don't know. We were there with our family when I was a baby, and I kept going there because I like it so much there. It feels almost like a second home.
Yeah, it's a nice place to ride. I'm impressed you've done 4 ascents. I've done 1. I've come up from the coast side, the Costa Adeje side. It's about a 39 kilometre climb from there. But yeah, I know you can come up from the north side as well. So that's quite an achievement doing that. Yeah. So is there a item on your bucket list that you still haven't achieved but you're looking to do in the future?
I have a long bucket list. Basically, many of the big mountain passes on it. So I haven't done that many in the Alps yet. I've been to Passo Mangen, but Stelvio, for example, is missing. And maybe I think I would like to maybe do a stage race. There's the Tour Transalp. That's a really cool race. It's, I think, 5 stages or 6. And it would tick off many of those big passes in a few days.
Yeah. It's riding in the mountains is a good thing. We're off to the Alps again this year around the sort of Bourg d'Oisans area. Alpe d'Huez went last year, doing it again this year. So, but yeah, been to many mountainous areas and always enjoy it. So moving on from bucket list items, if you were hosting a dinner party and you could invite just 3 guests, who would they be and why?
That's actually, I think that's the most difficult question. I had to think quite a bit about it. Luckily, I knew the question before. So I think I go with Barack Obama because I think he is an entertainer. He likes jazz. He would maybe bring his saxophone, and I think it would be fun to talk to him. And whereas I liked your choice, but obviously Kingdom Brunel has already other plans now. So I thought of who I could pick in this direction, and I thought of Carl Friedrich Gauss, a German mathematician, or how do you spell it? I think he's a quite interesting person. He had a very broad interest. He didn't finish much because he had this thought that he wouldn't make anything public he didn't do to the end and until it's really perfect. So he didn't finish much, but he started a lot and he had this wide overview of things, and I think that's quite interesting. And for the last one, maybe I would go with Jimmy Page, maybe.
A guitarist.
Yeah, I think he can tell lots of stories too.
Yeah, and the music after dinner would be interesting as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Led Zeppelin is surely one of the greatest bands.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so quite an interesting mix of people at your dinner party. There should be quite a blast, I would think. So, okay, moving on to the next question then. This is the one to get you thinking a bit. If you were stuck in the Watopian desert, what 3 items would you take with you in your rucksack?
I will have to look to leave as soon as I can, because I really don't like the desert. It's too boring there. So maybe I would try to head off over the mountains to Titan's Grove, which I like much more. So what would be helpful? Maybe a rope. It looks a bit rocky and steep over there, and a compass so I don't miss the right direction, and maybe good hiking shoes, assuming I can't go by bike.
That sounds good. It's certainly an adventurous way to get out of the desert. So I'd be right behind you on those choices. They're going to be good. They're quite unique ones. Yeah. Okay.
It shouldn't be so far, does it?
No, it shouldn't be too far. No, and you've got, as I said, you've got the oasis on the way to have a drink before you start those climbs. So yeah, that's a good choice. Okay, so moving on to the quickfire questions. What's your favourite city in the world?
Of the really big ones I've been to, I would say Paris is very nice, and New York is really interesting too. But maybe a bit smaller, or a city I could think of living in. I like very much Bolzano in northern Italy. It has a really nice Italian vibe to it, with the cafes and so on, and it's in the mountains. I'm a fan of the mountains. Also,
Yeah.
I live in Hamburg now. It's quite flat, but
I was going to say, I've been to Hamburg and I don't remember there being many mountains there at
yeah,
all.
my heart is still in the mountains.
Yeah.
My Bavarian heart lives on.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. I remember I used to go to Munich on business a lot. We used to do a lot of business with Siemens. And I can remember when we were in their office, when it was cloudy, the whole terrain looked just completely flat. And then when the mist cleared and the wind was in the right direction, you could actually see the Alps really clearly in the distance. And it was always quite interesting that you got that change on the horizon just based around the weather.
I lived maybe 70 kilometers east of Munich,
Yeah.
near Lake Chiemsee, and it really was just an hour's drive into the Alps. And
Yeah.
I've been there, in summer, I've been there almost every weekend hiking. Not biking at that time, but I was mainly hiking with the German hiking club or mountain club.
Sounds a good way to spend the weekend. Well, is there somewhere that you have visited that you feel you must go back to?
Oh, yeah. I've been to a business trip on an expedition cruise ship in Patagonia and the coast of Chile, and it was so amazing just to look at all the fjords and mountains and glaciers from the ship. Unfortunately, I hadn't much time to leave the ship. We just did a few short walks in Punta Arenas, Puerto Natales, Puerto Montt.
No, that sounds a good
would like to
choice. Yeah.
back there. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds impressive. I've always wanted to go to the fjords in Norway and have managed to fail to do it for several years. So yeah, that sounds like a really good choice, and I suspect one that will probably not many other people will come up with. That's quite an interesting trip. Okay, so the next question on our list is, what would you choose off the menu when you go out to dinner?
If I trust the restaurant, maybe I would have something with meat. It might be a salad with meat. Just it's not a big steak or so, but as we are no meat eaters at home, my wife is vegetarian, and I really don't miss the meat cooking at home. So I would maybe use the opportunity and get something with meat.
Would you be able to take your wife with you, or would she remove the meat from your plate?
No, I mean she has a strong opinion about it, but she respects, and I mean I respect her choice, and I don't have to have another pen here and for every meal to have my own, I don't know, bratwurst or so. It's okay. I really enjoy the vegetarian.
Yeah, there's some good if you get a good restaurant, vegetarian meals can be good actually. I've grown to like them more over the years, so yeah, good choice. What would the drink of choice be with dinner? What would you have to go with dinner?
So if I'm not riding that day or the day after, I would maybe have a beer, a beet beer I like most. And after that, I might go on with a gin tonic. I have a fable for gin, I would say, because I like the creativity, the difference you can taste from the different gins. It's quite interesting.
Is it? Is there much manufacturing of gin in Germany then?
There are a few, especially in Hamburg. It's just this melting pot from all the seas from the harbor and so on. There are few distilleries that use that image and have some quite interesting creations here.
Yeah, I can understand the wheat beer. I remember having some very good wheat beers in Munich when we were there. So brewed on the premises as well. They were excellent. Yeah.
My sister, if she visits, she will bring me some Bavarian beer, which I enjoy quite a lot, because here that's mostly the beer. It's the Bavarian beer which is made to export it to the north, and it's not the best you can get.
Yeah, it's
smaller. It's like craft beer. There are so many good breweries.
Yeah, I can understand that. It was certainly one of my fond memories of spending time in Munich. Okay, so we're past dinner and drink, and we're now on to what's your favourite course on Zwift?
I think I would go with the Richmond UCI reverse. It's just in the original direction. Libby Hill is quite a killer. I don't like it too much, because this drag in the beginning that kills me off until I get to the steep one. But the reverse direction is quite cool, and I especially like going up Main Street. Maybe even have the sprint counting in a points race directly after the climb. That's quite cool.
Yeah. That's an interesting choice of course. I chose it once for our. I used to organise the time trial, virtual time trial for my road cycling club, and I picked it one year because we normally rode it in the forward direction, and I picked it the last year I did it, which was last year, and we did it 4 weeks in a row. So we used to do it as a monthly competition. I've also struggled on a team time trial. I've been dumped out the back by the Mercenaries team time trial group there. So I've got mixed feelings about I understand the challenge of it, but I've suffered some severe pain on that course in the past. So
for a time trial, it's really difficult.
Yeah, it's an interesting course to pick. Yeah. Okay, right. So moving on from that, what's the most famous person that you've ever met?
I spent a lot of thought on that too, and I'm what is met? I had a kind of small talk and got autographs from actually 3 musicians I value, and that's been Niels Landgren, he plays the trombone, Joe Sample, I don't know from where you could know him. He's mainly a producer and writer, but he had his own band, the Crusaders, quite a while back. There's one song, what was it? Can I get it? Street Life, which was quite famous. It's actually not so much the kind of music I'm in, but he also did a lot of jazz music. And the third one was Ray Parker Jr., who actually brought out the original Ghostbuster theme song. And they were together, and it was a real jazz concert in the Four Seasons Hotel in Munich. It was very exclusive. I think I didn't get a drink because even a glass of mineral water was, I don't know, €9 or something. I just stayed there, and it was in the bar in the basement of the hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 guests or so. It was quite nice, and we had a little talk after the concert. Got my CD cover autographed.
No, that sounds like quite a chilled evening there. So, very intimate concert, yeah. Oh, good stuff. That's it. Again, I think that's probably going to be a fairly unique answer. There's some good ones today, Claudius. So moving on to heading towards the end, the sort of sillier questions. What was the first car you owned?
Yeah, my camera might got stuck. I'm not sure. I can't see me moving anymore.
Well, I can't, but we can hear you. So I think everyone will accept your pose. So we'll just we'll finish off as we are. So
yeah.
what was the first car you owned?
It was a Volvo V70 estate car, and I wasn't very lucky with it. I got it from my parents when it was, I think, 17 years old, and I had it 1.5 years because it would break down all the time. So I got rid of it very quickly and replaced it with a Toyota Auris, also an estate. And I have it today. So basically, I only had those 2 cars.
So it sounds like your father and mother's cars played a double role in your life. They didn't take you anywhere in it, so you bought your first bike, and then they gave you the car, and it broke down all the time.
Yeah.
That's a sad story. Okay, but you've actually replaced it, and then you've run the car that you've got for a long time since then.
I think it's in its 7th year now, the Toyota.
Well,
it's quite new.
Okay. So what's your favorite color?
I would say teal. You see it behind me, the floor.
Oh, yeah, I can see. Yeah.
It's a bit lighter than I would usually say is my favorite, but I figured for the floor it would be better that it's not too dark. But yeah, I like it a lot. It's
a cool color, good color for a floor. Certainly, it's looks like one of those paints that I almost did in my garage, but I never got round to. It looks really nice, actually. And the last question then is the name of your first pet.
Yeah, I go with my first own pet, not the family pet I had in my childhood. I had 2 own pets, and these were the only ones I had actually, and 2 rats. And they were called after ships I've visited before for work. And I called them Lieselotte, short Lottie, and Annette, short Nettie. And these ships were chemical tankers I've been to in Latvia to do thickness measurements.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the names. They seem cozy. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I named my 2 rats after that.
Yeah, good enough reason. If it works for you, Claudius, it's that's what counts. Well, we've reached the end of our questions, and it's obviously been a great experience because your camera's frozen, as you said. But everyone will be pleased to say that you did end up smiling. You weren't scowling at the end of the chat. So thanks for your time today, and I'll see you on the roads of Zwift soon.
Yeah, thank you. See you too. Bye.
Bye now.